The finale of an 8-game homestand for the Diamondbacks. A chance tonight to close it out with another series win against an NL West opponent. It's a beautiful April evening in downtown Phoenix for D-backs baseball as we conclude this series with the Rockies here on Fox Sports Arizona. And good evening from Chase Field. Welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthune, Bob Brenly along the way. The series finale here against the Rockies after last night's offensive explosion. Let's take a look at our Lowe's never stopped improving player of the game. And Bob, last night it was the Diamondbacks offense. It woke up big time against Kyle Kendrick in Colorado.
Yeah, a lot of guys made improvements last night. You see what the ball club did, put 12 runs on the board, 15 hits, 8 of those for extra bases, and 5 for 11 with runners in scoring position, which has really been a sticking point for the ball club in the early going.
Diamondbacks offense tonight up against Colorado right-hander Jordan Lyles. He can be pretty tough at times. He's matched up against the D-backs Josh Colementor, who could use some of that offensive support here at home.
Absolutely, he could use some support. This guy's about to hire a divorce lawyer. He just hasn't gotten a lot of runs when he's out there on the mound. Josh really needs to be on top of his game today. Elevate that fastball a little bit higher than the Rockies can handle. Keep it out of the middle of the plate.
Just 2 runs of support for Josh in 15 2/3 innings here at Chase Field this year. Diamondbacks hope to change that tonight in this homestand and series finale. The Archie Bradley updates have been pouring in all day long. So good to see. We're full of good news here as far as Archie's concerned. And Jody Jackson has more when we come back.
Brought to you in part by Cox Gigablast. How will you live the gig life? By Lone Butte Casino. You're in for more winning moments at Lone Butte Casino. And by Jack in the Box. Jack's hottest sandwich is back. Head to Jack in the Box for Jack's Blazing Chicken Sandwich.
Back at Chase Field on this Wednesday night as the Diamondbacks get set to take on the Rockies. Game 3 of this 3-game series. D-backs look for a series win. Jody Jackson with you. Yes, it was a scary moment on the mound last night when Archie Bradley went down a line drive off the bat of Carlos Gonzalez. But the good news was, as bad as it looked, just a slight sinus fracture. That was the news today. He is on the 15-day DL, but he won't miss much time. He'll be able to come off the DL right after that. 2 to 3 days, Chip Hale says he won't do much at all, and then in 4 to 5 days he'll be able to start throwing, throw some bullpens, a sim game, and he should only miss 2 starts. The correlating move today is bringing up Enrique Burgos from AA Mobile. The hard-throwing right-hander will be available out of the pen tonight for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Meanwhile, Archie Bradley spoke to the media today and talked about how he feels a day after processing that very scary moment.
After watching the video from numerous angles, just lucky. I don't know how it's not worse than it is. So just lucky, blessed, and fortunate. On the 15-day, I think we're going to take it day by day, but I think it's just going to be a couple days off and then kind of getting back into it. So like I said, very lucky.
Everything has been very positive for what happened and the injury, the way it happened, and what we've seen in the past. So you have 2 or 3 days of not doing too much, just trying to get the swelling down, and then get back to throwing activities and have a couple bullpens and a simulated game, and hopefully be ready by the time his 15 days are up.
I think it's pretty obvious Archie Bradley, very, very tough. And in fact, he said, look, if we were in a playoff game situation right now, I'd be able to get out there and pitch. Well, Josh Colmenter will be out there pitching tonight, looking for his 2nd win on the season for the Arizona Diamondbacks, hopefully helping the D-backs pick up a series win against the Rockies.
Another perfect April evening home in Arizona. D-backs wrapping up the homestand, and with series wins over the Dodgers and Giants already this year, they look to add 1 more to the resume tonight. And Bob, try and take 2 of 3 from these Colorado Rockies.
That's been the mantra since the beginning of the season. Win series. You're not going to win every night. There's way too many good players in Major League Baseball to win every night. We know that. So just win series. And this Rockies team should be ripe for the plucking tonight.
Arizona Ford starter for the D-backs, 29-year-old right-hander Josh Colmenter. Josh still looking for some consistency He has been brilliant at times through his first 4 starts, more hittable than we're used to other times, but always competitive. The ERA just over 3.5.
I mentioned it in the open of the show. If he's going to throw the high fastball, he needs to make sure it's a little bit higher than the Rockies hitters can handle. A lot of these guys will chase high heaters.
Charlie Blackmon leads it off. And there's strike 1. Marty Foster, our plate umpire. We are underway in downtown Phoenix. Blackmon hitting .305. And getting on base from the leadoff spot at better than a .360 clip. Josh Colementer's ahead quickly, 0-2. Blackmon has had a very good series. He had 3 hits last night. Scored 2 runs and drove in 2. He is 5 for 10, in fact, in the 2 games so far. 3 pitches, 1 out. Good start for Josh.
It was that higher than high fastball, just a little bit higher than Charlie Blackmon could handle.
Take a look at the lineup for Walt Weiss's Colorado Rockies.
Charlie Blackmon at the top in center field. Corey Dickerson in left field with Troy Tulowitzki at shortstop. Justin Morneau at first base. Nolan Arenado at third. Carlos Gonzalez out in right field. Nick Hundley doing the catching tonight. Daniel Descalso filling in for DJ LeMahieu at second base. And Jordan Lyles on the mound.
Yeah, LeMahieu, the Major League's leading hitter, getting the night off tonight. There is the dangerous Corey Dickerson. Colemente drops that one in there for strike 1. Dickerson top 10 in the league in hitting at .333. And he is 6th in the league in OPS. It's going to drift and find the seats, and Josh is ahead 0-2. Dickerson on base twice last night, a walk and a single. He's got 4 hits in the series. Beautiful evening here at Chase Field. Roof and panels are open. Perfectly comfortable, warm night to be here at the ballpark. But we're glad you're with us here on Fox Sports Arizona. The 0-2 to Dickerson. Josh Colementer got his 3rd loss of the season his last time out. That was Friday here against Pittsburgh. 3 runs on 6 hits in 6 innings. That start coming off his 4-hit shutout of the Giants in San Francisco. Foul ground, Goldie can't quite get there in time. Take a look at the Diamondbacks around Josh Colementer. It's our mid-first bank starting defense.
David Peralta will play left field tonight with Ender Inciarte sliding over to center field. Mark Trumbo back in right field. Yasmani Tomas and Nick Ahmed on the left side of the infield. Chris Owings, Paul Goldschmidt on the right side with Jordan Pacheco doing the catching tonight. The right-hander Josh Coleman.
So Pacheco behind the plate, the former Rocky, a night off for Tuffy Gozowicz.
Paired with the travel day tomorrow, Tuffy basically getting 2 days off if he doesn't get into this ball game. I'm sure he'll be right back in the saddle again come Friday.
He has earned it, that's for sure. Well, you sort of start looking at this Dickerson at bat and think back to Monday night when Troy Tulowitzki had that 13-pitch marathon AB in the first inning against Chase Anderson, during which he fouled off 5 consecutive 3-2 pitches and worked a walk. And then the next batter, Morneau, homered. Well, Dickerson's making a battle of it up there right here. Case in point, you stay 0-2. 9 pitches so far for Josh Colementer, all of them strikes. This guy's a tough out.
He really is. He will chase the high fastball too. We saw him do it against Archie Bradley last night, just like that.
Good call. 2 strikeouts for Colementer.
There's just something so tempting about a high fastball, especially when it's 83 miles per hour. Guys just can't lay off that pitch.
Well, speaking of Troy Tulowitzki, here he is. At just under 300 for the year. Well, those are the purplest batting gloves you will ever see. Batting gloves for Barney.
Got him from, what's his name? Dinger.
Dinger, sure. ball and a strike. Tulowitzki with a pair of hits in the series. He's got an RBI. He scored twice. Josh Colmenter looking for a 1-2-3 first.
And the Rockies also with that metallic purple helmet, whereas the Diamondbacks have gone to that matte look, whether it's the Sedona red or the black.
Yeah, I have a feeling that matte is going to catch on quickly.
Yep.
Three defenders on the left-hand side of the Arizona infield. Tomas, Ahmed, and Owings, third, short, and second. Goldie all by himself over there, halfway between first and second. Tulo does have a home run in his career against Colmenter. He belts the 3-1 into left. Baltimore play it off the wall, and Troy Tulowitzki is in there with his 11th double this year.
First baseman number 33, Justin Morneau.
Dangerous way to go about your business, having to throw 3-1 fastballs to Troy Tulowitzki. Fortunately, the line drive into left field only goes for a double. Oh, he just does clip that inside corner of the base. Watching with the naked eye, it looked like he missed the bag, but you could clearly see there he caught it with his heel.
11 doubles already for Tulo. Here's Justin Morneau now with 2 down. This guy's had a big series. Strike one. Morneau just under 320 for the year with a pair of home runs. He had 3 hits last night, a double, an RBI. He scored a run. A pair of hits in Monday's game, including that 3-run homer. And with runners in scoring position in this series is 3 for 3, 4 RBIs. But Colmenter's ahead 0-2. Did he go? Nope. Mark Wagner down there at third.
Boy, what a great location on that changeup. Started it just on the outside corner, fading it out of the strike zone. Ooh, that was a little closer than I thought.
The defending National League batting champion. Misses away there. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. And Josh, who got those 2 strikeouts to start the ball game, looking at a 20-pitch first with Arenado on deck. Chris Owings at second. He was playing well back in right field. Had to run in a long way that time. And the Rockies have runners in the corners with 2 down. The shift was on. Ahmed, the shortstop, behind the bag at second, and Owings way out there in right. And that's E4.
Third baseman number 28.
The circle of the ball hit right at the edge of the dirt and the grass where they come together out there and stayed down. Just nicked off the webbing of the glove. Not enough time to recover and make a play at first base.
So they'll work to Arenado with Tulowitzki at third and Morneau at first. And Nolan Arenado just under 300 for the year. He's had a quiet series at the plate, 1 hit and 8 at bats. That was a single in last night's ball game.
You know, partner, we always encourage the fans to come out to the ballpark and check out some batting practice, grab a snack, you know, watch the guys go through their pregame workout. And we had the opportunity today during Rockies BP to watch Nolan Arenado take ground balls at third base. I'm telling you, that's a show.
It is something to see him throw. Center field, Inciarte won't get there, and the Rockies will take a 1-0 lead. RBI single for Arenado. So a double, an error, and a single, all with 2 outs, makes it 1-0 Colorado. He's not a bad hitter either.
Probably won't go on his highlight reel. Cues it right off the end of the bat, but just muscles it into shallow center field. So close to getting out of this inning unscathed, and now he's got another runner in scoring position with the dangerous Carlos Gonzalez.
Hitting about .210 to start the year, and he was the one that, of course, hit the 115-mile-an-hour liner that struck Archie Bradley last night. A hard hit ball right to Trumbo. Tracks it down, and that ends the damage. But the Rockies get one. Diamondbacks coming up. They trail it 1-0. Lead at 1-0 as we start the bottom of the first. And for the Rockies, your Arizona Ford starting pitcher is 24-year-old right-hander Jordan Lyles, a former first-round pick by the Astros, now in his second season with Colorado. He grew up in the same part of the country as Chris Owings.
He's a South Carolina guy, so I know him. I worked out with him a little bit in the offseason a couple years ago, and he just kind of tries to work both sides of the plate for a righty, and you know, throws a little sinker, a little cutter in there, and just kind of have to stay with your approach and not let him get to you.
Lyles 2-1 in 4 starts, a 2.92 ERA. He has gone at least 6 full innings in every start this year. He has got heavy sink and has been very effective at generating weak contact, especially against right-hand hitters. So those left-hand bats are key tonight for the Diamondbacks.
Absolutely. That sinking fastball you heard Chris Owings talk about has a good straight changeup. We'll mix in an occasional slider.
Nolan Arenado knocks it down. Inciarte's aboard. A rocket right to the 2-time Gold Glover at third. That was more self-defense than anything else.
Second
Base hit for Inciarte.
That's the issue when you play in at third base to take the bunt away from Ender Inciarte. He just waits till he gets a pitch on that outer third of the plate, tries to drive it by the third baseman, this time right through the third baseman.
Leadoff man aboard, base hit for Ender. So Inciarte has now hit in 8 straight games. Here's Chris Owings. Long pause with the disruptor down there at first. Owings at .225 for the year. Chris was 1 for 5 last night. He singled and scored a run as part of that 3-run Diamondbacks first against Kyle Kendrick. As this one up into that light sky, drifting out into shallow right center field, Daniel Descalso. And that's the first out. Take a look at the lineup for Chip Hale's Arizona Diamondbacks.
Inciarte at the top. He's on first base. Chris Owings just popped up to second. Paul Goldschmidt at first base. Mark Trumbo, big night last night. He'll be out in right field once again. David Peralta with a long home run of his own last night will be in left field. Now is Monty Tomas at third base. Jordan Pacheco doing the catching with Nick Ahmed at shortstop and Josh Comenter on the mound.
Paul Goldschmidt. Drops it into left, a base hit. So Goldie, a big series so far, 7 hits and 11 at bats. Take a look at the Rockies around Jordan Lyles, our mid-first bank starting defense for Colorado.
Same outfit we've seen the first 2 games of this series. Dickerson in left, Blackman in center, Gonzalez in right field. Same left side of the infield we've seen with Nolan Arenado at third, Troy Tulowitzki at short. Daniel Descalso the only change, filling in at second base tonight. Justin Morneau at first, Nick Hundley doing the catching, and right-hander Jordan Lyles on the mound.
And there is Descalso, brought over in the offseason from St. Louis, the veteran utility man, getting the start at second base. Mark Trumbo, what a night last night. Just killing it right now at .324 for the year. And the OPS for Mark now in the 900s.
7 for his last 16 at the plate. 5 of those 7 hits have gone for extra bases. 3 doubles, a triple, and a homer. That's hot.
Inciarte at second, Goldie at first, and Ender wandered too far off the third. It gets to Arenado, and here comes Inciarte. And the Diamondbacks have tied the ball game. Goldie all the way in at third. They had him dead to rights, and it winds up a Diamondback run. Both runners got happy feet on that play. Ender was all hung up.
That inside move at second base. Rockies try to initiate a rundown. That ball actually hit Inciarte in the helmet and ricocheted away from Arenado. And Goldie, as usual, right on top of it, running with his head up. He sees that ball in foul territory and never breaks stride around second base and ends up at third.
They ruled that a double steal and E4 on the throw. So the error right there on the throw from Descalso that hit Inciarte. A double steal E4, and it's a 1-1 ball game. And Trumbo up there with Goldie at third. So a big break for the D-backs right there. Bounced over the mound and into center. Mark Trumbo just keeps on rolling. 2-1 Diamondbacks. He's got 10 plate appearances in this series, 7 hits and a walk.
And a couple of them have been just like this. That was a nasty sinker out over the plate and down. He just bangs it off a home plate back up the middle of the field. Tulowitzki with limited range out there just couldn't get there going to his left.
There he is, just walked into the dugout, Archie Bradley. Right where he wants to be with his teammates. David Peralta, who hit a long home run here last night.
The happiest guy in the joint is Chris Owings. His error extended that first inning, allowed the Rockies to put 1 on the board ultimately, but his teammates come right back and get him off the hook, scoring 2 quick ones.
I mentioned how tough Lyles is on right-hand hitters, so these Diamondbacks left-handed bats are key tonight. Peralta certainly one of those at .233. The slugging percentage for David now over .500. And a big night last night, that long 2-run homer, his 3rd of the year. He also doubled and scored another run.
Well, we have a moment. Let's take a look at our Valley Honda keys to the game with Joe Bonamassa in the house tonight, one of the greatest guitar players of all time. We're going to go with a little guitar theme. Don't string Josh along. Get him some runs, will you? and power chords. That's all I know how to play, and the Diamondbacks flexed their power chords last night. Hopefully do the same tonight.
You were like a little kid before the game.
Oh, man, I'm telling you. Yeah, I've seen this guy's video so many times playing at Royal Albert Hall, and just tremendous blues guitar player.
Oh, he crushed the national anthem tonight. It was very cool. Wearing a D-backs jersey. He's got about 20 of his buddies and band members here tonight. 3-1 to Peralta. David has 10 hits this season. 6 of them are for extra bases, 3 doubles and 3 homers. The view from the batter's box suite. Call the number right there, and that could be your view here at Chase Field. There goes Trumbo. That's ball 4. So 3 singles and a walk. A good start for the Diamondbacks against Jordan Lyles.
Fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Yasmani Tomas, 6 for 20 on the year, and he's been much more patient and selective up at the plate. Really starting to pay off with some good ABs, good results up there. And the on-base percentage for Yasmani just under .420 right now. And last night his first career extra base hit, an RBI. And he's got an RBI opportunity right here. 2 on, 1 out. Tomas, another nice game for the Diamondbacks. He's had a very good series, in fact. Last night on base 3 times. A single, a walk, and the RBI double. Over the mound right to Tulowitzki. Steps on the bag himself at second and turns the double play. Nicely done by the Rockies shortstop. They're going to hold the phone 1 second here. Chip Hale trying to get everybody's attention. They want to take a look at the play at first. There's Marty Foster, the plate umpire. And Sherlock on the phone with Alan Campbell, the video coordinator.
High throw. The question was, did Morneau come off the bag? And it appears he was able to keep the right foot on the corner of the bag long enough to get the out.
So that's the inning, but the Diamondbacks were down 1. They get 2. Another RBI for Mark Trumbo, and after 1, it's 2-1 D-backs. Back at Chase Field, Steve Berthune, Bob Brenly, Jody Jackson with you. Diamondbacks lead the Rockies in a series and a homestand finale. 2-1 as we start the second with Nick Hundley, the Colorado catcher.
Watch that first pitch. Nick Hundley loves to attack early.
Stays away. It's ball one. Hundley off to a good start to his Rockies tenure, hitting .316. And a walk, a single, and scored a run last night. Takes a big cut at that one. 68 miles an hour from Josh. And that big, slow breaking ball. Coming at you, BB.
Just a little bit too high.
1-2.
After that one that whistled through here earlier in the homestand, I'm a little better prepared now. So was that gentleman. Nice play.
Two balls and 2 strikes. Hundley, a 6-game hitting streak. He's got 9 hits in his last 6 games. They've been really pleased with this acquisition. Of course, split last year between the Padres and the Orioles. But got a 2-year deal to come over to Colorado. And has already won over a lot of fans in the Rockies clubhouse. All Weiss. Bud Black, who had him in San Diego, said he's legit. They did their homework, and Bud Black gave him a big thumbs up. A little nubber in front of the mound. Coleman is going to have to hustle, and not in time. That one just died like a sandwich on a green there. Not much Josh could do.
Daniel Descalso.
Well, normally I'm pretty excited when a pitcher, or rather a catcher, gets an infield hit, but not so much when it happens for the Rockies. But good hustle by Nick Hundley. Tapper down the third base line. Knew it was going to be a tough play for either Jordan Pacheco or Yasmani Tomas or Josh Comenter, and gets himself an infield hit.
Another offseason acquisition by new GM Jeff Bridich in Colorado. Daniel Descalso getting the start at second base tonight. First pitch swinging. Lifts it in the air to right to Mark Trumbo. Brings up Jordan Lyles.
Pitcher number 24, Jordan Lyles.
Well, how about today's April 29th? April 30th last year. Jordan Lyles, Josh Comenter right here at Chase Field.
Josh not going to let that happen again.
There's food for thought here.
Jordan Lyles 0 for 10 so far this season with 5 strikeouts.
And showing bunt with Hundley at first and 1 out. There's a strike. Jordan Lyles, as Chris Owings mentioned, a South Carolina guy from Hartsville, South Carolina. A first-round pick out of high school there by the Astros in the '08 draft. He was the 38th player selected overall. He came up in the Astros system when they were really hurting. He was kind of rushed. Hundley takes off, and that one is tracked down by Owings. And they have an easy play at first. That's the inning. Hundley took off with a pitch and was left a dead duck out there on the bases. And we go to the bottom of the second. CO tracks that one down, and the Diamondbacks keep a 2-1 lead.
Archie feeling pretty good, feeling very lucky today as he is on the DL, but what could have been, certainly a slight sinus fracture, certainly mild compared to what we saw with that line drive hitting him in the face. But he came into the clubhouse last night after going to St. Joe's Hospital to get checked out. And Daniel Hudson had pitched in the game, and Daniel said, "Is it okay if I tweet this selfie?" Slap hands, of course, and after the game, a lot of people, the news trickling in that there was no serious injury to Archie Bradley. So Twitter, guys, a vehicle where you can certainly spread some good news like that. We saw that last night. Archie said he also got messages from Mike Trout, Brian Bosworth, of course, the great Oklahoma linebacker. He tweeted at Boz, and he got back to him. And also Carlos Gonzalez, who really was disturbed, of course, hitting that ball. And he got the number through Ender Inciarte, texted Archie, just wishing him well, and saying that he was very sorry that that happened, and called him a rising superstar in this league, hoping that it would not derail his career in any way.
Thank you, Jody. Social media certainly has its share of ills, but that was it was a very useful and comforting tool last night as Jordan Pacheco strikes out. Just to watch Bob over the course of the evening, just checking my Twitter feed and seeing all the selfies that Archie took. He took 2 selfies, one now sort of the famous one where he's laying in a hospital bed, and then one about an hour later that Jody mentioned. He had a Brian Bosworth t-shirt on, and after he was released from the hospital, took another selfie and said, "Hey, is this Bosworthy? I took 115-mile-an-hour baseball off the face." And apparently that got the thumbs up from the Boz. The Oklahoma Sooner connection right there. Here's Nick Ahmed. But and then later, he and his roommate Jake Lamb were kind of horsing around and tweeted out more pictures of Archie. So it was just nice to see the photos and see him smile and see that he was okay. And for once, Twitter was a comfort.
Well, I happened to catch Snake Talk last night on the way home.
Well, who didn't?
Jeff Munn and Greg Schulte. And I thought you brought up a great point about his football background. I mean, this guy, I'm sure he'd been banged around a few times, maybe been knocked unconscious out there on the football field. I know a lot of pitchers that wouldn't have bounced back the way Archie did. And I think the football background had something to do with that.
I find it hard not to believe that. Just to, that he's taken some shots, certainly from blitzing linebackers and whatnot, but nothing like last night. Backhanded by Tulo at short. And he throws out Ahmed. This was the first photo that Archie sent out. And how about this? I mean, this is where we are with social media these days. Here he is in his hospital bed tweeting a selfie. In all seriousness, no, thanks for the texts, tweets, and prayers. Could have been a lot worse. Hashtag lucky. And boy, was he ever.
Yes, indeed.
And we are certainly counting our blessings here today. Josh Colmenter. This one is bounced to Arenado. That's what he does before every ball game. Just practice those throws, never misses. And it's a 1-2-3 second. Downtown Phoenix Diamondbacks lead the Rockies 2-1. 9th, get your Josh Colmenter bobblehead, courtesy of Arizona Sports, 98.7 FM. It's the Diamondbacks and the Padres. That's a 5:10 start. Get your tickets now for Josh Colmenter bobblehead night at dbacks.com. I happen to have my Josh Colmenter bobblehead right here in the booth with us here, BB.
You must know somebody.
There it is. This is
that far in advance. Wow.
Actually does bobble. You see right there. It's a good-looking bobblehead. And we come inside Chase Field on a beautiful April evening here in downtown Phoenix. Steve Berthier, Bob Brenly, Jody Jackson with you. Right outside the team shop on the main concourse. And inside with the roof and panels open and the Diamondbacks leading the Rockies 2-1. Charlie Blackmon leads off the Colorado third. He struck out his first time up. Well, that's the first. Well, we already had Hello Kitty bobblehead day, so this is actually technically second bobblehead day of the year. Another must-have item. Charlie Blackmon's hit safely in 5 straight games, 10 of his last 11. And he's rolling a bit right now. The first baseline, but right to Goldie. One away for Corey Dickerson.
Left fielder Corey Dickerson.
Dickerson, like Blackmon, a strikeout victim his first time.
Neck high fastball. Second time in this series he struck out on a fastball up above his shoulders.
One thing's for sure, when you get a fastball from Josh Colmenter, it's not going to be coming in at 150 miles an hour. And you never make too much of Josh's velocity readings. We all know that. It's not what he's about up there. However, the numbers here, they are a trend in the wrong direction. And if you go back right there on the left, 2 seasons ago, his fastball averaged just over 87 miles an hour, and opponents hit 215 against that fastball. But those numbers went backwards last year, and now this season the fastball is down to under 85 miles an hour. And opponents are hitting better than 320 when they see that fastball. So, Bob, should we be concerned about this?
Well, I would venture a guess that if you asked Josh about it, he would say the velocity makes no difference. It's the location of those fastballs.
Ender and Ciarte. Easy fly ball to center.
I mean, for a major league hitter, the difference between 85 and 88 is infinitesimal. I mean, that's not even enough to worry about. And I don't think Josh is worried about a drop in velocity either, if he just commands that pitch and puts it where he wants to.
He's got that cutter, that terrific changeup, and that big curveball. And survives with location and deception. Tulowitzki doubled and scored his first time. When you played, which was not that long ago.
Thank you.
Little qualifier there. Did most guys throw about, not 85 maybe, but I don't know, high upper 80s, 88ish?
Upper 80s. If a guy hit 90, you'd say, boy, he really throws hard. And occasionally you'd get a short reliever that would come in out of the bullpen blowing gas in the mid 90s. But yeah, most of the starting pitchers pitched in the upper 80s, relied on a mix of 4 pitches. Yeah, it's the game has changed considerably. I mean, Josh Colmenter would be, right in the middle of the pack back in the days I played, just an average starting pitcher with that fastball at 85 to 88.
Now he's a real anomaly almost. There's Patrick Corbin, who threw a simulated game yesterday. Ryan DePanfilo sits in training. Sky to left, Peralta. Been in that light sky. Tulowitzki flies out on a 3-0 pitch, and Colmenter is now retired 5 in a row. He leads it 2-1.
Great Joe Bonamassa playing Comerica Theater tomorrow night. Fortunate to have him here playing the anthem tonight at Chase Field as the Diamondbacks head to the bottom of the third, up 2-1.
The band. There they are. Got a whole suite for them.
Yeah. They said there was a little jam session downstairs. As you know, they have a music room downstairs where Aaron Hill and Mark Trumbo and some of the guys get together and blow off a little steam from time to time. I think Joe was going to make a stop in there.
I think Todd Walsh made his way down there as well. Bronson Arroyo, of course. Ender Inciarte leads off the D-backs third against Jordan Lyles. Ender singled, stole the base, and scored a run his first time up. What else is new? Squibber back to the mound. Lyles underhand toss. He's retired 5 in a row now. One down in the third.
And not only is he retired 5 in a row, but they're starting to come via the ground ball, as we mentioned at the top of the show. When he's right, his infield defense will be very busy. Got the double play by Tomas to end the first. Struck out Pacheco to start the second, but then all ground ball out since.
Bruce Owings popped up his first time. Lyles has got 2 different kinds of fastballs, the 4-seam and the 2-seam, and a hard slider. That slider, for a lot of guys, it's a swing and miss pitch, but for him, it's more of a ground ball pitch. And it comes in 87, 88. He can bring it up there. And we often on these broadcasts talk about ground ball percentage as a way to measure pitcher performance. And Lyles right now generating a ground ball rate of just under 53%, which puts him just outside the top 30 in the big leagues. Arenado. Bob, he's got to be the best in the business. We've watched him all series long, Nolan Arenado, and I can't think of anybody that's better.
And even that play right there, he makes it look so routine because, as we mentioned before, he was out here during batting practice and he had Tom Runnels, their bench coach, hitting balls to his left, hit him to his right, hit little choppers out in front, hit choppers like this, and we saw him make this play earlier this afternoon while the Rockies were taking batting practice. Tremendous footwork.
And it's a perfect throw every time. Here's Goldie. And Arenado will often stand right about where he is right now. And you mentioned just one after the other and make those throws for 15, 20 minutes. And he never rushes. Always takes his time and sets himself, and it's always right there. And he makes it look effortless.
He really does. I've said for years that Matt Williams was the best I ever saw. I was fortunate to play against Mike Schmidt at the very tail end of his career, so his best days were behind him as a defender. Matty, was a teammate and played under me when I was managing the Diamondbacks, but I think Nolan Arenado is not far behind. Give him a few more years.
And the scary thing is with Arenado is that he just turned 24 about 2 weeks ago. He's been in the big leagues for 2 years. He's got 2 Gold Gloves. He's about a .300 hitter, and he's only 24 years old.
By all accounts, he's one of those guys, you love his work habits, you love the way he goes about his business, mature beyond his years.
Goldie bangs it into right. Paul Goldschmidt 2 for 2. And 8 for 12 in the series.
Right fielder, Mark Trumbo.
Brings up Mark Trumbo. Trumbo an RBI single his first time up, just crushing it right now. 7 hits and a walk in 10 plate appearances in this series, and he's at .333 for the year. Coming off his 4 for 4 last night, a double shy of the cycle.
The Rockies are well aware of Paul Goldschmidt's ability to pick a pitch, get a big jump over there at first base. They've seen enough of it over Paul's career, so they're going to be very careful, keep him close over there. 2 outs in the inning. This is a time you might want to try to put yourself into scoring position.
That's in there for a strike, 0-1.
Of course, as hot as Trumbo is right now, you don't want to run into any outs on the bases with the big guy at the plate.
2 for 4 in Monday's game. And a walk and a pair of doubles, 4 for 4 last night. Scored 3 runs, drove in 4. An RBI single so far tonight. Ball and a strike.
And the cherry on the Sundays, he's looked good defensively out in right field, made some nice running catches on sinking line drives and balls that looked like they were headed for the gap.
He sure is moving around really well out there. And I think all of that, Bob, has helped him take on a very young team a little bit more of a leadership position this year. He seems to be one of the guys that people on this team go to.
You mentioned in last night's ball game, he basically challenged his teammates. Let's play with a little more emotion, a little more fire. Let's get out there and get after it. And then backed it up with a 4-hit game.
There goes Goldie. Bounce to short. Tulowitzki has one play. And he throws him out. We are through 3 at Chase Field. The D-backs lead the Rockies 2-1. Another doubleheader starting with the West Coast Interleague Showdown. It's the Angels and the Giants, followed by the Reds and the Braves. Coverage begins at 12:30 on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Josh Colmenter's retired 5 straight. Justin Morneau leads off the Rockies' 4th. And he hits it right into the shift. Chris Owings is there and throws him out. 1 pitch, 1 out. That was the exact same play on which Owings made an error in Morneau's first at bat.
Third baseman Nolan Arenado.
Andy Green responsible for those defensive shifts in conjunction with Dr. Ed Lewis. Here's Nolan Arenado. An RBI single his first time, his second hit in this series. Talked about Arenado just in his 3rd year, already 2 Gold Gloves, just turned 24. And Walt Weiss says this is a guy that loves to practice, loves to play. And Arenado, when he sees the performance levels that his teammates like Tulo and Cargo have reached, he figures to have that kind of ceiling. This is in foul ground first base side. And he says he tries not to talk about it because he's got to go out there and show it, but he believes that he can play at a level that they've been playing at. It's easy to see why when you watch him in this series.
Well, I love Walt Weiss's first statement. He loves to practice. How many guys can you say that about? We mentioned it before. We saw it before the ball game today. We've seen it before every game of this series, and we'll probably see it every game we play the Rockies. Arenado, one of the first guys on the field, taking grounders every day.
It is something just to sit up here and watch him throw. Cargo now with 2 outs. He lined out to Trumbo and right his first time. Shift is on again for Gonzalez.
Of course, during my playing days, Ozzie Smith was a guy that people would pay money to come watch him work with the leather. Omar Vizquel, another guy that was such a great defender. People would come out just to watch him take ground balls. And Arenado falls right into that same group.
Two and 0 to Cargo. There's the strike. Mentioned that, of course, it was Gonzalez that hit the ball that struck Archie Bradley, and Cargo went above and beyond trying to get in touch with Archie, as Jody Jackson told us earlier. This is a high fastball there at 86. And the thing about Cargo, he struck out in all three of his at-bats last night following that incident. So you had to think it was foremost on his mind, at least for most of the ball game. Colmenter now at 50 pitches, 35 for strikes. Got him. Third strikeout for Colmenter. He sets down the side. He has now retired 8 in a row. Josh Colmenter rings up Gonzalez. He leads it 2-1. Put on in this series.
I mentioned his footwork, his body control, the strong throwing arm, just the presence of where he is on the field and how much time he has to make plays. It just makes it all look so easy.
It's been very impressive to watch, that's for sure. Since 2013, and keep in mind that was his rookie season, he is among the league leaders in fielding percentage at third base. He's going to get pretty expensive at some point down the road, that's for sure. David Peralta leads off the fourth for the Diamondbacks against Jordan Lyles. D-backs lead at 2-1. Rockies got a run in the first against Josh Colmenter on Arenado RBI single. Diamondbacks got 3 singles and a walk in the first. And with the help of a Descalso throwing error, got 2 runs to take a 2-1 lead. That's where we are. Peralta, Tomas Pacheco, 5, 6, and 7 for the Diamondbacks.
When the D-backs win, you win at Papa John's. The day after every Diamondbacks win, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at Papa John's. Enter promo code D-backs50 at papajohns.com.
Shift is on against Peralta. He hits it foul right to Dave McKay. And Arenado's all by himself, essentially standing at the shortstop spot on the left-hand side of the infield for the Rockies. 3 defenders on the right. And Lyles at 40 pitches, 25 for strikes. Well, remember when we started this homestand, we went to Ralph Kelso for the Ralph Kelso spot-on weather forecast, and that was a week ago, and Ralph promised close to triple digits over this portion of the homestand. It kind of feels a little bit like that tonight. We're right about there. Warmer than we've had so far.
Well, Ralph is usually right on top of it, whether it's the weather or statistics or running the camera, whatever we ask Ralph to do, he's the best.
Ralph, right. Ralph, you said triple digits last week, and I think you nailed it again.
Close to it. Beautiful in here. Easy on.
Where else would you rather be? Ralph Kelso and the Ralph Kelso spot-on weather forecast. Have you scouted ahead, Ralph, at all to Los Angeles or Denver for us next week? To get Ralph on that. 3-2. When it's hot, have a beer at the draft room. By the way, I'm getting very encouraging reports, BB, about our game that we'll be broadcasting from up there as Peralta works a leadoff walk. Second time of the ball game he's walked. I am told that May 23rd, you and I will broadcast a Diamondback Cub game, a Saturday night from right there.
Nice.
And that, with the help of the Brenly committee and some back and forth, we're going to be sitting right there broadcasting the game. I'm going to have a Diamondback hat on. I'm going to be wearing shorts and sneakers. Surrounded by fans, and we'll be doing the game from right up there high above courtside, in the words of the late great Johnny Most.
I'm looking forward to that. We've done games in the past from up at Friday's front row, and that's a great vantage point if you ever get the opportunity to watch a ball game or come early for batting practice. It's a great seat up there. I'm looking forward to moving to right field this year.
There's the Friday's front row grill out in left, and Bob and I later, next month, will be out there in right field at the brand new draft room here at Chase Field. That's a Saturday night against the Cubs, a 7 o'clock start. Tomas hard to second. Descalso knocks it down, and they still have time to turn 2.
Hard hit ball, and even though Descalso misplayed it and fumbled it a couple of times, Troy Tulowitzki makes up for it with that strong throwing arm from short, just in time to get Tomas at first.
Boom. That had some zip on it right there. Half a step. Jordan Pacheco struck out his first time. Last year at this time he was catching Jordan Lyles as the Rockies' backup catcher. And now here he is standing in there against him.
Yeah, I would imagine the Diamondbacks leaned on Jordan Pacheco a little bit for their advance meeting against this Rockies team. He knows his former teammates and their strengths and weaknesses.
Jordan, a 9th round pick by the Rockies in 07 out of the University of New Mexico, where he was primarily a second baseman. He was a great athlete growing up in Albuquerque, Jordan Pacheco. Played on a high school team that won back-to-back state baseball championships. Led his team to a state title in basketball. He was a 15 points per game scorer. Senior baseball player, hit .500, went 4-0 as a pitcher. He's one of those guys. 3-0. There's a strike. Base hit. Belts it into center.
And not only does Pacheco have a good scouting report on his former teammates, but he's caught Jordan Lyles. He knows what he's likely to do in certain situations. Ready to tomahawk that fastball into center field for his first hit of the game.
Nick Ahmed now. Nick grounded out his first time. And Nick says he is going to end up with a hot streak soon here. And when he does, nobody's going to remember the slow start he's had at the plate. And Monday he was asked about his offense. And he admitted that if somebody is going to go through a bit of a struggle, and he says they're not in any way frustrated, they're just lying. But he insists it's a long season, a lot of games, a lot more at bats.
That's the attitude you have to have. It's a long baseball season. Rocky Bridges once said years and years ago, the sun don't shine on the same dog's rear end every day. Nick Ahmed's going to have his time.
Got a day off yesterday, in the words of Chip Hale, to just kind of observe, watch a little bit, take a breather. And there's a base hit for Nick.
Hopefully that's the one that'll break the seal for Nick Ahmed. You know he's been working so hard in the cage. We come out here early every day and go down to the dugout and you hear that batting cage, bang, bang, bang. And usually it's Nick Ahmed in there pounding away, trying to figure something out.
Well, here's, Bob, something you talk about all the time. The Diamondbacks have done it twice here with the back-to-back 2-out hits. They will at least here with 2 outs clear the pitcher spot. Yep. With Pacheco at second and Ahmed at first. Josh grounded out his first time. We've seen him belt out a hit or two this year. 3 for 10, in fact. There's ball 1. Lyles really kind of laboring here. Walked Peralta to lead off the inning. Got that double play ball and then back-to-back 2-out singles. Short. Tulowitzki pulls him out. Through 4, Diamondbacks lead it 2-1. We will be there. See you up there Saturday night, May 23rd at the Draft Room here at Chase Field.
Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you in part by your Valley Honda dealers, where you'll get more standard features for less money. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. And by Mix One, great taste, no face, available at local retailers.
Roof and panels open, a gorgeous night in downtown Phoenix. Steve Berthiaume, Bob Brenly, Jody Jackson along the way. The Diamondbacks lead the Rockies 2-1 in this series and homestand finale. And the Diamondbacks already with series wins over the Dodgers and the Giants, trying to take 2 of 3 from another NL West foe here before heading out on the road. And Josh Colmenter is rolling here. A couple of bumps in that first inning. The double by Tulowitzki, the RBI single by Arenado. Hundley had the swing and bunt to lead off the second, but since then Colmenter has retired 8 straight.
Yeah, through 24 pitches in that first inning, only 28 for the next 3 innings.
We'll work to the lower third of the Colorado order here in the 5th inning. That slow breaking ball in there for strike 1. Josh has not given up more than 3 earned runs in any of his 3 previous starts, so his numbers for the season a little deceiving because of that rough day against the Giants on opening day.
Heads up, Governor.
And just missed Greg Schulte. He never even flinched. Remember that game against the Giants here, day 1, Josh gave up 5 runs, 10 hits in less than 5 innings, so the numbers are a little skewed. And if you throw that start out, you'll see that Josh has actually been very consistent previous 3 starts. 20 innings of work, the ERA right at 2.70. As we mentioned in our open, looking for some run support. He's got a 2-1 lead here in the 5th.
We were talking about it earlier. Josh just hasn't had a lot of support, especially here at Chase Field. 0-5 record over his last 6 starts right here at home. The run support under a run when he was in the ballgame.
2-2. The gang's all here. Of our high school blood drive challenge. All the winning groups are on the field before the ball game this evening, honoring the terrific work they've done. This is high in the air to right, but playable for Trumbo. 9 straight set down by Colmenter, 1 down in the 5th. Hey fans, follow the Diamondbacks all season long with MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At Bat is up to the moment at any moment, with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCast, and a whole lot more. Get MLB.com at Bat for your smartphone or tablet. Daniel Descalso. Flying out his first time. Descalso, 3 hits in 23 at-bats to begin the year. He's had irregular playing time. Grounded out in a pinch hit appearance Monday night. And has started games at shortstop, first base, and second base already this year. Bounces up off the mound, but Ahmed is there to collect it. 10 straight set down by Colmenter.
A lot of the things we said about Nolan Arenado, you could echo those for Nick Ahmed and the way he's played shortstop this year. That was not an easy hop. The ball changed directions off the mound, picked up a little side spin, kind of jumped up into his midsection, but he stayed right with it, turned it into an easy out.
There is a fluidity and a smoothness to Nick Ahmed out there, which you don't see in a lot of shortstops, let alone guys that are, big. Nick's 6'2", 194. He's got that little extra quality. Everything about it is just so smooth and seamless. No wonder Lyles is in there first strike. There's Colmenter bidding for his 3rd straight 1-2-3 inning.
His 5th 0-2 count of the ball game already on Jordan Lyles here.
That is a good recipe for success. Got him. 4 strikeouts for Colmenter. He has set down the last 11 Rockies he has faced. Here's what's next, brought to you by CenturyLink. Paul Goldschmidt so far 2 for 2, a pair of singles. He's coming up.
talking about something that the pitch did and the way his hand was on the baseball that caused it to react a little differently than normal. And certainly if you're catching the guy, you want to know everything he's doing out there on the mound. I mentioned Mike LaCosse the other day throwing the split finger. You throw 10 of them and 7 of them would be perfect. Drop him down right around the ankles where you liked them. And the other 3, I had no idea where they were going.
Jordan Lyles out there to start the bottom of the 5th. Ender Inciarte, the leadoff man. 1 for 2. He singled, stole a base, and scored a run his first time up. So Ender's now got an 8-game hitting streak. I read this last week. One national columnist quoted a talent evaluator and referred to Ender Inciarte as the Brett Gardner of the West. The Yankee outfielder. You know, little guy, left-hand hitter, good speed, a little bit of power now and then, plays good defense, runs the bases, draws a walk. Yankee fans out there might know, of course. They see that watching Brett Gardner and Inciarte. The skill sets are very similar. Of course, in New York, he's Brett Gardner. Gardner. Okay. 2-2.
I like the fact that Chip Hale was flexible enough to realize after the season got going, we saw A.J. Pollock in the leadoff spot an awful lot in spring training in the early part of the season. And I think we were both in agreement that Ender was probably better suited for that leadoff spot, and A.J. may be better suited for an RBI spot a little lower in the lineup. And you know, to his credit, Chip Hale used his eyes and saw what was in front of him on a daily basis, and Ender usually finds his way to the top of that order.
2-2. Well, you might recall that Kirk Gibson had Ender hitting 8th when he first came up to the big leagues just about this time last year. And Ender said that was a little different for him because he'd never hit 8th in his career. He'd always been a leadoff guy. He was hitting in front of the pitcher. That's a different approach. And when he started leading off, that was when he started to hit better and feel more comfortable out there. And it sure did make a difference. He just kept getting better and better every day. And now he's worked it full here, 3-2. That's a good at bat right there. Leadoff walk, 3rd walk issued by Lyles.
A lot better at bats the last 2 days. Of course, the Diamondbacks exploded offensively last night, but they were getting good pitches to hit, and they were hitting them hard. Tonight, they're making Lyles work a little bit out there, willing to take their walks at to 3rd base on balls in 5 innings for Jordan Lyles.
But here is the one thing that does need to improve about Ender. And we mentioned that the on-base percentage coming into tonight better than .350, but that's just his 3rd walk this year. So a little more of that, and he'll really have something. Chris Owings. He's your leadoff guy tonight. He's been on base twice. He's got a stolen base. He's scored a run. He's on base again here. That's what you're looking for. The disruptor. It's the second time Lyles has done that with Inciarte at first. In the meantime, CO's really got it cranked up the plate lately. 14 hits in his last 11 games. 0 for 2 so far tonight, but he's batting better than .290 over that 11-game stretch. He was out there very early this afternoon working with Turner Ward in the batting cage on that lower half. Something that you talked about, Bob, as Inciarte takes off, and Turner kept pointing to his legs. And that base, kind of keep it still.
Keep your legs underneath you. Some balance in your swing. 4 times earlier this season, CO, his legs were all over the place, feet sliding around as he took his swing, but he's done a much better job lately of keeping those legs underneath his body. It may sound like a funny saying, but you get extended, you take too long of a stride or too short of a stride, it throws off your balance in your upper body and makes it nearly impossible to square the ball up.
Oh, they caught Ender leaning the wrong way there, but he's back in time. It's a little flinch from Inciarte down there. Runner holds. Owings gets down a bunt. Arenado charges. Throws him out. Inciarte into second.
Another great play by Arenado down there at third base. I mean, that is an outstanding attempt to bunt for a base hit right there. Deaden that ball on the left side of the field. Arenado scoops and throws all in one motion. Big arm. They get CO by about 3 steps down there.
They scored a sacrifice, 5-3. Inciarte moves up. And hey, here's a question for you. Mark Trumbo's been hitting everything on the planet behind Goldie. Got first base open here. Is this the protection term we always hear about? Will he get anything to hit in this at bat?
We'll see. I would imagine Lyles will try to get Goldie to chase something out of the zone, but Paul rarely does that, especially when he knows the situation. He knows who's hitting behind him, and he'll be ready to hit a strike if he gets one from Lyles.
Leading the National League in RBIs. He's up there with Inciarte at second. Two and 0. America's first baseman. The cover of the new D-backs Insider here at the ballpark.
Get a good pitch and put a good swing on it.
Singleton scored in the first, singled his last time up, 2 for 2. In the dirt. How about Gold Rumbo?
Ooh.
These guys are rolling over the Rockies.
15 for 22 combined.
I think Gold Rumbo has now been firmly established. I think we're off and running with Gold Rumbo.
Drop a hashtag on it or something. I'm not sure.
It's next level.
Social media stuff.
What, you kids with the Twitter? That's one's upstairs, so nothing at all for Goldie to hit there. And he'll take the walk. 4 walks issued by Lyles now. And here comes the back half of Gold Rumbo. Lyles now at 70 pitches, 39 strikes.
Right field, Mark Trumbo.
Let's take a look at our T-Mobile game-changing player, Mark Trumbo. This season in April. It's been a good start.
He's already got 3 triples. That's a career high.
The best April of his career. Let's keep it going. It's not over yet. He's got Inciarte at second and Goldie at first.
We've seen a little bit of that lately from Mark Trumbo too. We've shown you many times Goldie doing his visualization over in the third base dugout before the game, and Trumbo right before he steps in the batter's box, ever so quickly, just kind of closes his eyes, clear the mechanism, and get in there and go to work. And he did it on the first pitch. And I saw him do it last night. Come on, Mark.
Whatever he's doing, don't change it. 2-0. This is what you want to see with Trumbo up there and 2 men on. Get himself into a nice count where Lyles has got to give him something to hit. Way up in the air. Left field corner. Dickerson has room. Inciarte hustling will tag and head for third. And Goldie's in at second. Well, he said he wanted to hit him up in the air. That was way up there.
That's alert base running by both Goldie and Ender Inciarte. They saw Corey Dickerson out there kind of staggering around trying to get under that sky-high fly ball, and both went back and tagged up and advanced.
And a big spot for the left-hand bat of David Peralta, who has walked twice tonight so far in 2 plate appearances. He's got second and third, 2 down in a 1-run ball game. Arenado started breaking back toward the bag at third like there was a play on Inciarte. But Lyles delivered to the plate. And now Arenado well off the bag at third again. They have the shift on, so he's got to run over there and make sure somebody's at that third base pad. With the Rockies putting 3 infielders on the right-hand side. Peralta ahead, 2 balls and no strikes. There's a strike, 2-1.
It looks like Lyles doesn't really care if he walks Peralta either. He missed away with 2 cutters, gets the benefit of the doubt on a borderline at best changeup right there.
Marty Foster behind the plates. Tomas on deck with 2 down. Three and one. That's some long at bats, 2 base on balls as was mentioned, and he's up 3-1 here. Well, he was not going to let the left-hander beat him, and he'll work to Tomas with the bases loaded. That's 5 walks for Lyles. And we'll get a visit now. That's Steve Foster, the pitching coach. He hit bat in the ball game right here. Yasmani Tomas at the plate, bases full, 2 down. You want to call it? You feeling it right now?
Not quite yet. Not quite yet.
All right. Yasmani Tomas has hit into 2 double plays tonight. He's got Inciarte at third, Goldschmidt at second, and Peralta at first. 2-1 ball game, bases loaded, 2 outs. Tomas 0 for 2. His first career extra base hit and RBI last night. And boy, this would be a perfect spot for another one. Ball 1. We talked about this during his first AB tonight. We've seen a much more patient and selective Yasmani Tomas up there. It's starting to pay off with some good at bats. Base hit. Inciarte scores. They will wave Goldie. Peralta's in at third. A 2-run single for Yasmani Tomas. 4-1 Diamondbacks.
After a couple of pitcher rounds in this inning, Yasmani Tomas makes Lyles pay with an opposite field base hit. Goldie off with the crack of the bat at second base. He's going to score easily. Peralta turns the corner, ends up at third base. Nicely done.
Yasmani Tomas. Big league RBIs 2 and 3. Peralta in at third now. For Jordan Pacheco, who singled in his last at bat. He's 1 for 2. 7 hits now for the Diamondbacks. They lead at 4-1. Trying to win this series. I'll tell you what, Bob, after the way this homestand went against the Pirates, a series win here really does salvage something from these 8 games. After you split with the Rangers to start it off.
Well, playing in the division, you want to try to win every series, obviously, but playing against those guys in the West, you want to establish something, especially here at home.
Jordan Pacheco gives it a ride. Gone. The former Rocky is first of the year, and it's 7-1 D-backs. Sometimes you gotta live Tomas. Or in this case, Pacheco. Tomas scores 7-1.
Yes, indeed. Back-to-back days.
Yasmani the big hit. Pacheco the long one. And it's a 6-run D-backs lead. All this, by the way, coming with 2 outs. That ball was belted.
It really was.
Nick Ahmed. Let's take a look.
Fastball tailing inside. Maybe his previous knowledge of Jordan Lyles helped Jordan Pacheco get the barrel on that ball. Pulled his hands in close to his body. High in the air to left field.
The three Diamondback boys out there all going for it with their gloves here at the ballpark. They all missed it. And the life of a catcher, BB. Hurry up.
Celebrate for about 3 seconds and get your gear on.
The moment's over. The first home run allowed by Jordan Lyles this year. A 3-run homer by his former catcher, Jordan Pacheco.
Both of our keys to the game tonight. Don't string Josh along. Get him some runs here at home, and they've done that.
Well, we don't just make this stuff up.
No, a lot of forethought goes into it. And the power chords, the power showing up here in this inning with that Pacheco homer.
A 2-run single by Tomas, the 3-run homer by Pacheco, a 5-run Diamondback fifth. And the 2 big hits, both coming with 2 outs. First home run since, how about that, almost 2 years. One and 2 on Nick Ahmed. In the air to right center field. Charlie Blackmon is there. Well, sometimes you got to lift Tomas Yasmani. The 2-out, 2-run single. And then Jordan Pacheco, the long 3-run homer. And after 5, it's 7-1 D-backs. Take a 7-1 lead, and in the meantime, Josh Colmenter hitting weak contact. A lot of fly ball outs tonight for Josh, and he has retired the last 11 Rockies he has faced. He's given up only 3 hits and none since Hundley singled the lead off the second. A lot of fly ball outs in this big ballpark. Josh is using to his advantage. He's retired 11 straight now as Blackmon leads off the Colorado 6th. Trying to bunt for a base hit. Tomas going to let it roll. Heads up play by Yasmani there. Spring training, he probably picks that up, Bob.
The ball just trickles into foul territory. And of course, you have to touch it to make it a foul ball. Make sure it doesn't hit a clump of dirt and bounce back into fair territory.
Josh Colmenter so far, no walks, 4 strikeouts, only 3 hits in 5 innings. He has been outstanding. Beard versus Beard. And then there's that.
Then there's that. I think we have a winner.
Yep. Center field, Inciarte coming in. One away. Another fly ball out there for Josh. We just talked about that.
Weak contact once again. Charlie Blackmon hit that one right off the end of the bat. You could hear some of his Diamondbacks teammates screaming in to enter Inciarte.
They have him with 8 outs in the air so far. Corey Dickerson 0 for 2. They count the liners. One was hit right at Trumbo to win the first. Down the right field line, that's a base hit. Trumbo has it in the corner, and Corey Dickerson also is in the second with his 4th double. That breaks a string of 12 straight retired by Cole Minter.
Shortstop Troy Tulowitzki.
Here's Tulo. Tulowitzki doubled and scored a run his first time up. He flied out back in the 3rd, 1 for 2. And Tulowitzki red hot coming out of the gate this year. He hit about 360 over his first 10 games. But has cooled a bit since. Last 10 games he's hitting under 230. And the average for the year right now right at 303. Knocks it into left. Peralta plays it on a hop. Then Wade Dickerson. Here's the throw. Got him. A nice short hop stopped by Peralta in left, and he throws out Dickerson at home plate.
Lucky right there. Picked that short hop off the grass, gets his balance, and unleashes a rocket to home plate to get Dickerson. What a throw.
Chaz Roberts air conditioning cool play of the game, and there is Jordan Pacheco with that foot right in front of home plate.
I think Dickerson was supposed to stop. Stu Coles initially was waving him, but then tried to throw up the stop sign. It was too late. Dickerson ran through it and is thrown out at home plate.
Our Chaz Roberts air conditioning cool play of the game. More Diamondback defense. That's the 2nd out in the 6th. And we mentioned that the ball seemed to get to the plate area right around the same time as the runner. And Jordan clearly was not giving Dickerson a whole lot of room. You have to give him part of the plate. And let's see. This is something that they have adjusted now with the replay rules this year.
I think he's giving him plenty of plate right there. Both feet are inside the baseline. Only after he gets the ball does he drop that left foot back there, block the plate, and apply the tag. I think he's okay.
The manager challenged by the Colorado Rockies.
It's another replay review brought to you by Mix One. Now, this doesn't necessarily have to be a Rockies challenge. They can request a review under Rule 713. This isn't, we are told now, a Rockies challenge.
I thought Jordan Pacheco played that perfectly. Clearly see had both feet in fair territory, was giving Dickerson plenty of plate to slide to until he caught the ball. Only then did he drop that left foot back in front of home plate.
Now, new this year, they are looking at the home plate collision rule, we're told now. New this year, let me clarify, the manager does have to use a challenge for a review of the rule 713, the collision rule at home plate. But if the manager is out of challenges after the start of the 7th inning, the crew chief can do it at his discretion. But this is a Rockies challenge of the new collision rule at home plate, or the newly modified collision rule, we should say. There's not a lot of time there, Bob, where Jordan is in front of the plate without the ball. And apparently that's what they decided in New York.
I think that's a proper call.
After video replay review, there was
and probably a what have you got to lose challenge from what it was.
Might as well give it a shot. I mean, We saw in the first couple replays Jordan Pacheco clearly standing in fair territory with both feet. And caught the throw from David Peralta in left field, and only then did he drop the left foot back to block the plate.
So you've got Tulowitzki, the runner at first. 2 outs for Justin Morneau, who has reached on an error and grounded out. Hits it right to Peralta in left, backing up at the track. Whoa, he's got it, David Peralta. Well, have yourself a 6th inning out there, David Peralta. He throws out a runner at home and then tracks that one down in front of the wall to end the inning. Some Diamondback defense in left field from their left fielder. 7-1. Applause, applause.
He gets ready for the post-game show coming up after the game tonight. Joe, in game there was an interesting stat and some knowledge passed along to us on the disparity in velocity over the years for Josh Collmenter and his fastball, the batting average going up. So what has he done to work around that here tonight? He's been pretty effective.
Todd, when you're struggling to get a fastball out, don't worry. There's always a way back in. I'll break down his outing and tell you exactly what I'm talking about.
Wow, just like that.
Just like that.
You're leaving everybody hanging in the balance. All right, Steve, Bob, that's what we'll have for you and more. D-Backs Live coming up right after the game tonight.
Thank you, Todd. We'll make sure we'll tune in, see what Joe's got in store for us.
Can't wait for this game to end so I can find out.
High drama on Diamondback Live, the post-game show. New pitcher for the Rockies, Scott Oberg, his 6th appearance of the year. And Josh Collmenter, the pitcher, leads it off for the Diamondbacks. 3 of his 5 outings this year, Oberg scoreless. Just called or recalled from the minor leagues about a week ago. And to update our Mix 1 replay review scoreboard, Diamondbacks have been involved in these plays so far. 3 calls have been overturned. Not tonight, though. David Peralta throws out Corey Dickerson at home plate, then makes a leaping grab to take extra bases away from Justin Morneau to win the inning. So a little bit of everything tonight. We've seen great pitching from Collmenter, some big hits from Yasmani Tomas and Jordan Pacheco, and some tremendous Diamondback defense from David Peralta. Trying to win 2 of 3 here against the Rockies. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And for Jordan Pacheco, I mentioned this earlier, his first home run since May 17th, 2013. 336 at bats ago. Strikes out Collmenter, 1 down to open up the bottom of the 6th.
I always like to get your leadoff man on in an inning, but I think given the way Josh is pitching tonight, the way the offense has responded, Chip Hale's not really too upset about that out by Josh Collmenter. Get him back in the dugout. drink of water, sit down there with your catcher and talk it over. Get ready for the next half inning.
Ender Inciarte. 3 plate appearances so far by the leadoff man. He has scored twice. A single and a walk. He's also got a stolen base. Strike one.
You talk about mixed feelings as a manager. I remember when RJ or Schill used to be leading off an inning, maybe a day game in St. Louis, about 95 degrees. And, man, I hope he strikes out on 3 pitches and comes back to the dugout. Because if he gets on base, we don't know what we're going to get when he goes back out there for that next half inning.
We mentioned this the other night. There's a lot of talk this week, mostly from Max Scherzer of the Nationals. It's about time the National League had the DH. Some injured pitchers, Adam Wainwright and whatnot. Madison Bumgarner said no. Of course, he can hit.
Watch out.
Deep breath, Sender.
95 up there under his chin.
Well, the sound you heard was the ball hitting Todd Hundley's glove, thankfully. And so it's a ball and 2 strikes on Ender Inciarte. Ball strike 3 at 95.
A bit of a comeback sinker at 95. It always amazes me, guys that throw in the mid to upper 90s and can get the ball to move in such a short time.
Chris Owings 0 for 2. Had a sacrifice bunt his last time up. Would you like to add the DH in this league?
No.
I'm with you.
I've never been a big fan of the DH. I know there's a lot of proponents for it out there. A lot of people that think it's really improved the game. And if you like offense, absolutely. If you don't mind an absence of strategy in a game.
I mean, that was Scherzer's point. He said, would you rather see me hit or David Ortiz? And a lot of call for more offense in the game. It's become kind of a rallying cry.
I like to see managers have to make that decision. Do I leave Max Scherzer in this game and take this at bat, send him back out to the mound in the next inning? How's my bullpen doing right now? Do I have anybody on the bench I like better as a pinch hitter in this situation?
And of course, remember, Madison Bumgarner would not have remained in Game 7 of the World Series if it was not for the fact that it was in American League City playing Game 7 at Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City.
Step it.
3-0 to Chris Owings.
We used to joke about it back in my playing days. You'd look at an American League scoreboard and it would be 8-6 in the 3rd inning and both starters would still be in the game. That just doesn't happen in the National League. As long as the score was close, whether it was 1-0 or 8-7, hey, still like our starting pitcher better than anybody in the bullpen. I don't have to worry about pinch hitting for him, so we're just going to let him keep rolling.
Diamondback Live post-game show. Joe Borowski and Todd Walsh follows our ball game. 2 outs, 3 balls, 2 strikes. I don't see the real pressing need to have it the same. People get a little too hung up on that. I'm not sure there's a really good reason why it needs to be the same. Unless there's some kind of massive competitive disparity in some of the interleague games. There's a strikeout, so Bird comes in and strikes out the side. Sends us to the 7th inning. Treats at the ballpark at 7-1. part by Chaz Roberts Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Choose Chaz. And by Jack in the Box. Jack's hottest sandwich is back. Head to Jack in the Box for Jack's Blazing Chicken Sandwich.
Beautiful night here at Chase Field on this Wednesday. We head to the top of the 7th. Jody Jackson with you. And there is a look at Jake Lamb, and he is coming off on the mend, I should say, as well, on the DL with that stress reaction in the left foot. There is a little bit of news on Jake. As you see the numbers, he was having a terrific start at the plate for the Diamondbacks, but he is pain-free now as he walks around. That is good news. He is just walking, not jogging, though, he did say, so he's got less than a week left in that boot, and then of course the challenge is to just begin again getting into normal baseball activities and hitting as well. He said he can't wait to get a bat in his hand. Also, Patrick Corbin, guys, just an update there. 35 pitches in a sim game yesterday. It went extremely well. He threw 6 sliders in that sim game. He'll throw another bullpen on Friday and yet another sim game on Monday. He is still on track for an early to mid-June return.
Yeah, he is fired up, Jody. Thanks very much. Here's Carlos Gonzalez after Arenado popped out to begin the 7th. And the shift is on against Gonzalez. And we got to watch Patrick Corbin throw that simulated game here yesterday. And it's just great to see him out there on the Chase Field mound throwing a baseball. So help is on the way.
A lot of people wonder what a sim game is, simulated game. It's basically glorified batting practice. You just don't have defenders out there at the positions. Usually you have 2 or 3 of the bench guys that need some at-bats to come out and hit off the pitcher who's throwing the sim game. And you can monitor the pitcher. You can call him off the field at any point. You don't have to get the 3rd out of the inning or anything like that.
Yeah, it's like 3 or 4 guys, and they just kind of rotate it all through the hitters.
Just rotate in, and if they happen to get a base hit, you say, okay, pitch out of the stretch. You've got a runner at first base. But basically, it's just glorified batting practice, but for the pitcher.
How good did that look, by the way? See 46 back out there, chucking it from the left-hand side. Gonzalez loses the handle there, and it's 2-2.
Well, that looks uncomfortable. Tried to check his swing.
Yikes.
Bottom hand came off the bat. Top hand couldn't stop.
Two pitch. Remember, he fought that painful tumor in his hand last year, Gonzalez, that had to be surgically removed. It was benign, but it was very painful for him. Part of a long injury-plagued season last year for Cargo. Just inside there, it's full 3-2. Archie Bradley.
You should see the other guy.
The other guy's right there, and he grounds out. 2 down. There's Nick Hundley now.
Catcher, Nick Hundley.
How about this?
Long first inning, 24 pitches to get through that first, but he has been as economical as you can possibly be from the 2nd inning on.
78 pitches, 55 strikes.
A good move here by Nick Ahmed. Just go out there and give Josh a moment to catch his breath after running over to cover first base on that last ground ball.
He's been watching Tulo.
Yeah. Surprised Tulo didn't run out of the dugout to give Josh a
Josh just out here to give you a minute.
Yeah.
Does this count as an official visit? Fun times, the RanTrucks.com pool area.
Hey, no glass in the pool. Come on now.
They have a little vino in the pool. Check swing, foul. It's very Brenly-esque. Some wine in the pool.
Yeah.
Popped up near the Colorado dugout. Pacheco will give it a look, but it's off the roof of the dugout and in the seats. Quick hands by that guy in the gray shirt. The old school D-back t-shirt.
He's looking for a kid. I like it.
There you go.
Yeah, nicely done. Yeah, that's worth a contract right there. Even though you caught it on a bounce, it was a great play, and you gave it to a kid. Nice going.
We're going to get the Brenly staff on that. We get the thumbs up from the committee. They approve. Looks like Noah Berlin will have to do some scrambling down there. Get Noah stat. Hard to short on that. The backhand and the throw. A 1-2-3-7 for Josh Colmenter, who is having a tremendous night here. He's got a 7-1 lead as we stretch at Chase Field.
One of the 16 interactive kiosks right here at Chase Field during any Diamondbacks regular season home game.
Nice job by that gentleman. Nice catch on the foul ball, and then on the young man, a young fan to give it to. Well, the contract is on the way, sir. You get 4 free tickets to a Diamondbacks game, big discount at the team store. And Goldie leads off the 7th for the Diamondbacks. All already with 2 hits tonight. If he gets another hit here, that'll be at least 3 hits in 3 straight games. That'll be a career first for Goldie. It's only happened 8 times in Diamondbacks history. At least 3 hits in 3 straight games. Needs 1 more tonight. Puts it in the air to Gonzalez and right. Well, the other half of Goldarumbo. Here comes Mark Trumbo. The dynamic duo having a big series.
Right fielder, Mark Trumbo.
Trumbo an RBI single in the first. He's 1 for 3. And the average at 324. The OPS in the 900s. A double shy of the cycle last night. Said he just was not going to run into an out on that ball that dropped into shallow right field for a single. But for a moment it seemed like he might stretch it into a double and go for the cycle, but not just going to give away an out. Ball and 2 strikes. Diamondbacks are off tomorrow. And And the next road trip, second road trip of the year, commences on Friday, 3 at Dodger Stadium. And the Dodgers have shifted their pitching rotation around. We may actually miss Clayton Kershaw in that series. He was originally supposed to pitch Sunday against Chase Anderson, but Don Mattingly adjusted things today. So it looks like we miss Kershaw over the weekend. Reaches down and rolls into shortstop. As we take a look at our upcoming road trip, let's go places. Brought to you by your Valley Toyota dealers. All 3 games from LA for you right here on Fox Sports Arizona, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's De La Rosa, Hellickson, and Chase Anderson. 3 games then against these Rockies at Coors Field, Monday and Tuesday. No TV on the Wednesday game. That's a day game. Pitching change here. Alt Weiss makes a move. We take a break from Chase Field.
History. That's Troy Tulowitzki caught the line drive off the bat of Chipper Jones. Applied the tag on Edgar Renteria and Kelly Johnson. An unassisted triple play, only the 13th in Major League Baseball history.
Well, David Peralta has been up there 3 times tonight. He's drawn 3 bases on balls, and Tulo and the Rockies go into the overshift now with Peralta in there against the new pitcher. For the Rockies, it's the left-hander Christian Friedrich. His 10th appearance of the year, and ERA right at 3.5. Drew Stubbs, double switch for Walt Weiss, will take over for Gonzalez in right. And he will bat 9th, pitcher spot now 6th in the Rockies order. Maybe we should broadcast a game from there. That's out in right field. Belted to right center, and that ball will reach the wall. Peralta's on the move. David Peralta, his 4th double. Been on base 4 times tonight.
Well, David doesn't get to hit against a lot of left-handers. Perhaps making a case for getting some more at-bats against lefties. Fastball right down the middle of the plate. Good quick swing. Ball carried a long way into the gap in right center field.
He's got 11 hits this year, David Peralta. 7 for extra bases. 4 doubles, 3 homers. There's aboard at second. 2 down now. Yasmani Tomas, who had a enormous hit his last time up, a 2-run, 2-out single. Part of that 5-run D-backs 5th. And he shoots it the other way. Base hit. Here comes Peralta. He will score, and it's 8-1 Diamondbacks. Another RBI for Yasmani Tomas.
work for Yasmani Tomas as he heads off here in favor of the pinch runner, Cliff Pennington. That opposite field approach. Gets the barrel on it, shoots it down that right field line after the David Peralta double. An RBI single for Tomas.
Pennington, the pinch runner at first. Jordan Pacheco's had a terrific day against his old team. A single and a 3-run homer. His first home run in nearly 2 years. Ariel Prieto. Tomas is translated. Jordan Pacheco in the 5th.
It's a Jordan Lyles sinker that strayed up around the belt. He did not miss it.
First homer in more than 330 at bats. So Jordan 2 for 3. He's down a ball and 2 strikes. 2 outs here in the 7th. Diamondbacks have out hit the Rockies 10-5. They lead at 8-1. The offense has really come alive these last 2 games after a slow week. And finishing this homestand with an offensive flourish and what looks to be a series victory against these Rockies. That'll get them back within 1 of 500. They'll be 10-11 on the year as they start the road trip. He did not go. Klinsky down there at first, so it's 3-2 now with 2 outs. Pennington will be off with the pitch at first. There goes the runner. Pacheco can't hold up, and that's the strikeout. That ends the inning. But the Diamondbacks get one more. To the 8th inning we go. They lead at 8-1. Pack for only $19. You'll get a ticket to the game, a Subway sandwich, a Pepsi, and a coupon for a free cookie. The value pack is available for any game this year, and you can buy one right now online at dbacks.com/value. What a night for Diamondback baseball. Josh Colmenter has been outstanding, retired 12 straight at one point. The defense has been spectacular, highlight reel worthy, and the Diamondbacks offense once again has come alive. 8 runs on 10 hits and some defensive changes behind Josh here. Cliff Pennington, who came into the game to pinch run for Yasmani Tomas, will stay in there at third base. A.J. Pollock checks into the game. He takes over for Inciarte in center, and Ender moves over from center to right, replacing Mark Trumbo. Descalso leads off the Rockies 8th. He's 0 for 2. Josh Colmenter so far has given up just 1 run on 5 hits. He has been outstanding.
That'll work. Nice play. His t-shirt said chicks dig the long ball. They dig catching the ball in your hat too.
Probably blowing them up right now. Josh at 88 pitches, 60 for strikes. He may have another complete game in him here the way he's been going. That'd be 2 in 3 games. Bullpen is quiet for the Diamondbacks. Crickets down there. The Sanderson Ford bullpen.
Well, obviously last night with Archie Bradley getting knocked out of the game in the second inning, needed to use 5 relievers to get through the remainder of that ball game.
Well, you remember the time he pitched the shutout at San Francisco a couple of starts ago. That was the night after the 12-inning game where they ran through the entire bullpen, and Josh was actually warming up for the Diamondbacks in the bullpen as that next day's scheduled starter. And unfortunately, they didn't need him in that game. He was able to come back and start the following night, Friday, and he pitched a beauty. Went all the way for the shutout. Another 2-2 to Descalso. Drops it in there. Right through. 5 strikeouts for Colmenter.
Well, Josh hasn't thrown a lot of curveballs in this game tonight, but Marty Foster has been giving him that high strike with the curveball. He'll take it.
Right fielder.
73 miles an hour at the very top of the zone.
Well, here's Drew Stubbs. The numbers on Josh so far: 1 run unearned, 5 hits, 7 1/3, no walks and 5 Ks. Drew Stubbs is really wearing it right now. 0 for 19 with 11 strikeouts to begin the year. And he has always been a guy that struck out a lot, but it's out of hand right now. He's quickly down 0-2. He's even having trouble on the bases. He's a very good base runner, but then there was this the other night. Whoops. Whoa. He went in there like a bowling ball. And the pins. But Stubbs, you know, he struck out in spring training. How about this? He struck out 25 times in 50 spring training at bats. And it's carried over into the year. And they're just trying to get him, at this point, just a base hit. He's got an offer for the year right now.
Struck out 205 times in 604 at bats back in 2011 for the Reds.
And he says 98% of it is mental. But the strikeout frequency has gone up every year. He had a nice year for them last year. He's a good right-hand bat in there.
Great defender in the outfield.
And there's another strikeout. 0 for 20 with 12 strikeouts this year. Drew Stubbs.
And a slow curveball from Josh Colmenter. Maybe going to see a few more of those as we approach the end of this ball game. I mentioned he hasn't thrown a lot of them, but they've been very effective.
Charlie Blackmon now with 2 down. Colmenter had retired 12 in a row. Dickerson hit a double in the 6th. Tulowitzki singled, and since then Josh has retired 6 in a row. Blackman 0 for 3. Rockies come into tonight 11-9 on the year, so they'll drop to 1 game over 500. And from here, they will continue their road trip. They get a day off tomorrow. Then they're at San Diego over the weekend for 3 at Petco Park. And then back home to Coors Field to host the Diamondbacks starting on Monday. And we'll have the first 2 games of that series for you right here on Fox Sports Arizona. Comenter behind 3-0. And about to throw pitch number 100 on the evening. Sanderson Ford bullpen still quiet for the Diamondbacks. There's his try. Rockies, this first road series, they don't usually, this year anyway, lose road series. They won their first 2, which was a big priority for them. They were really hard pressed to win a game away from Coors Field last year. The Rockies won 21 road games last season. They went 21-60 on the road. But they opened up in Milwaukee. They just blew away the Brewers. And they did very well in San Francisco. But Diamondbacks on their way to winning 2 of 3 here. Three balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. The shift is on. Comment from the second base spot, so score that 6-3, and Comenter has retired 7 straight. Diamondbacks lead at 8-1.
Ticked off the people in Homer, Michigan, the hometown of Josh Comenter. You had that great vertical tease about what you saw and how he has made some adjustments from his last start. The problem is they've closed Cascarelli's Pizza on Main Street at 10 o'clock local. People are wandering around wondering, what are you going to talk about? So they're watching right now through the windows of the storefronts. Can you just give us a little something?
No, you're going to have to stick around, Tom. But could you score us pizza?
Yeah, I got a pizza. So, Bob Brenly, we've got a slice from Cascarelli's coming from Homer, Michigan to you on Josh Comenter bobblehead day. I just got the deal. I know a guy who knows a guy in Homer. You've had it. You like it, right?
Outstanding.
Some of the best in all of Michigan. We'll see you in the postgame show. Sausage, thin crust.
Feasted for days.
Okay. All right, boys. Save some for us.
I have a feeling it's going to be long gone by the time we see him.
Well, you can start chowing down in Homer because Josh Colementer's night is over here after 8 brilliant innings of 5-hit ball against these Rockies. Nick Ahmed, Nolan Arenado, stop it! He is unbelievable. Takes a base hit away from Nick Ahmed.
That's too bad. Nick hit that ball right on the button, but just at the wrong guy. Don't hit it to the Gold Glovers. Man, this guy has done it all in this series.
There's nobody better down there than him. You can add anybody else. I'm taking this guy. Holy cow. So they will hit for Colementer here. Oh, we're speaking, of course, defensively. Enrique Burgos about to make his major league debut. Just called up today from the AA Mobile Bay Bears. And he is going to be part of the future here, D-back fans. He had a great spring training. And if they didn't really need more length out of the bullpen, leaving camp might have been on the opening day roster, but they went with guys like Delgado and Chafin instead, who could pitch more than 1 inning. But Burgos, the last couple of years as a closer in the Diamondback system, has been electric. And he's about to make his big league debut. He'll get the 9th as Hill hits for Colementer. So you want to stick around and watch big Enrique Burgos because he's a show, man. It'll get close to 100. And he's got a big wipeout slider. I like him a lot. He is part of the solution here and part of the long-term plan. So get used to seeing him. High chopper, Arenado one more time. Can't quite barehand that one. It scoots under him. And Aaron Hill's aboard. Didn't get quite the hop or the spin he needed there. Base hit for Aaron. Running for a Chevron upcoming pitching matchup. Day off tomorrow. And then we open up 3-game series in Los Angeles against the Dodgers. All 3 games for you on Fox Sports Arizona. Now the pitching matchup, don't hold us to this because I think this is going to change. But at least from a Dodger perspective, we do know Ruby De La Rosa will start for Arizona. And we should see Scott Baker at some point in that series. It might not be Friday, though. So stay tuned for that. They moved that around a bit, so I believe we missed Clayton Kershaw there. Boone Logan, by the way, we should mention, is the new Rocky pitcher. And here's Ender Inciarte. A veteran left-hander, Boone Logan. There's a strike, 1-1.
And we showed you that graphic of Josh Colementer and how efficient he had been with the pitches after that rocky first inning. However, he did throw 19 there in the top half of the 8th, which probably eliminated any possibility of a complete game as you get a look at the numbers for Boone Logan.
And Bob, I would imagine that this is the perfect spot when you've got a kid like Burgos. You're all set. He just came up here. He's, you want to get the major league debut out of the way in at least one sense and make it a nice comfortable spot for him, and this has got to be it, right?
Yeah, managers look for soft landings, especially for young pitchers. You want to get them into a game where it's not hanging in the balance and every pitch is important. Hopefully get Burgos out there, let him catch his breath, get his legs underneath him, get a quick inning out of the way, and then off he goes.
1-2 pitch. That's in the seats. Jody has more, and Enrique Burgos. Jody.
Well, everyone seems to have somewhat of an interesting story about their call-up, but Enrique, really interesting story with AA manager Robbie Hammock actually going over to his house. He heard this knock at the door. He thought someone was breaking into his apartment. That was the way Robbie delivered the news, and he walked into his room and said, "You can't have a messy room. You're going to the big leagues." So he thought it was a break-in, but instead it was the opportunity of a lifetime.
Literally knocking at the door. This is in center field for Blackburn. That's the second out. I love your story about how they sent out a search party trying to find you.
Pretty much. This was back in the day when they had snail mail and landline phones, and we had an off day in Phoenix, AAA Giants, and took my mother, my aunt, and uncle up to the Grand Canyon for the day, and was driving back to the Phoenix area, and I don't know where we were exactly, probably up around the Prescott exit, and heard it on the radio. Phoenix Giants, a couple players got called up to the big leagues today, and was that my name? Did they just say my name? Really? So I drove about 100 miles an hour the rest of the way home.
Chris Owings drops it into right field for a base hit.
And my boy Rocky Bridges, when I finally got a hold of him, who was our skipper in Phoenix, where the heck have you been all day? They're waiting on you in San Francisco. So, if we'd had cell phones, it would have been a different story. But it was a great day, Grand Canyon. It was awesome. Beautiful sunny afternoon. Temperatures in the mid-70s.
It sure ended well, I can tell you that.
Yeah, yes, it did.
So with 2 on and 2 out, a chance for Goldie here. Looking for his 3rd consecutive game with at least 3 hits. That would be a career high for Goldie. He singled and stole a base, scored a run in the 1st, and singled in the 3rd, walked and scored in the 5th. So he's had a busy night, 2 for 3. He scored twice. He's got Aaron Hill at 2nd and Chris Owings at 1st. And you might as well swing for the downs right here. Just under 330 on the year now and leading the National League in RBIs.
And congratulations in order for Aaron Hill out there at second base, getting into this ball game here, his 1,300th career game. That's a lot of baseball.
Got to be pretty good to play in that many games at this level. One and two. Diamondback Live post-game show follows our ball game. 9th inning coming up. You'll want to stick around and watch the big league debut of Enrique Burgos, one of the promising young relief arms in the Diamondback system. Joe Borowski, Todd Walsh have our Diamondback Live post-game show right after that. Base hit for Goldie, his 3rd hit tonight. Here comes Aaron Hill. Here's the throw, and it is not in time. 9-1 D-backs. And for the first time in his career, Paul Goldschmidt has 3 consecutive games with at least 3 hits. First Diamondback to do that since Mark Reynolds back in 07.
Tailing fastball off of the outside corner, and Goldie just smokes it into right field. Good slide by Aaron Hill, getting underneath the tag right there. I'm not so sure Nick Hundley tagged him until after his foot was on home plate.
So A.J. Pollock now batting in Mark Trumbo's spot. Took over in center field in the previous inning. A.J. at 324 on the year. And he's up there right now with a career high 8-game hitting streak. Gives it a ride to right, but Stubbs has plenty of room. And that's the inning. Diamondbacks lead it 9-1 when we come back. The Major League debut of reliever Enrique Burgos. Cox Gig Life high-speed highlights as we start the ninth, and the major league debut of Enrique Burgos, the big 24-year-old power right-hander. 6 saves and 7 scoreless outings with Double-A Mobile, where he's been closing games for Robbie Hammock's Bay Bears. Burgos pitched for Robbie at Visalia last year in A-ball and led the Cal League with 29 saves. He put up some big strikeout totals there last year, 83 strikeouts in fewer than 55 innings. A power fastball that touches 100 and a big hard slider. The issue has been command and harnessing that stuff, but it's been much better the last year or two. He has made a lot of progress. And here he is in his major league debut. Corey Dickerson will lead it off. Dickerson, Tulowitzki, Morneau, 2, 3, and 4. So Burgos is thrown right into the deep end of the pool here. Dickerson doubled his last time up. He's 1 for 3. .96, so rocket into the seats, and quickly Burgos is ahead 0-2.
Burgos in his 8th season in the Diamondbacks organization, and he's only 24 years old. Big dude, 6'3", 251, as Steve said, power arm.
And they got a long look at Enrique Burgos this spring. And Chip Hale saw a power guy who has also now shown the ability to throw that off-speed pitch for a strike anytime he wants. It's that big, effective slider. That one upstairs there.
Maybe overthrew that one just a little bit. Certainly understandable.
And this is a guy that Mel Stottlemyre Jr., the bullpen coach, says has special stuff, and things for Burgos are starting to really tighten up and come together. He was at Visalia last year, averaged 14 strikeouts for every 9 innings pitched. Corey Dickerson greets him, takes Peralta to the wall. Allowed out number 1. Hey fans, tonight Fox Sports Live gets caught up on a full night of NHL and NBA playoff action, plus highlights from around the majors. You can see Fox Sports Live tonight, 11 o'clock on Fox Sports 1, or see it simulcast right here on Fox Sports Arizona, following Cronkite Sports. 1 away for Troy Tulowitzki. As Bob mentioned, rock out there for a minute. Burgos been in the system a long time. He signed with the Diamondbacks when he was 17 out of Panama. Promising season last year at Visalia and looked very good in the fall league last fall for the Salt River Rafters. There's that 95-mile-an-hour fastball. But he is a big guy who has always struggled with control. 2 seasons ago, he pitched at South Bend in the Diamondbacks system and walked 49 batters in 46 innings. But the command has been much better lately. Over to third. Pennington has it. 2 down.
Boy, I'll tell you, Chip Hale could not have scripted this game any better. Needed some length out of his starter. He got that from Josh Comenter. Burgos in the game only because he wanted to get him an inning of work in a comfortable situation. You got Trumbo and Tomas to the plate in that 7th inning. Was able to take both of those guys out for defensive replacements because of the big lead. Everything just fell into place perfectly tonight.
Tapper Burgos is on it. And he works a 1-2-3 inning in his major league debut. The Diamondbacks win it 9-1, and they take 2 of 3 from the Colorado Rockies. A good finish to this homestand, a series win against an NL West foe. And a little bit of everything, Bob, from the D-backs tonight, as you mentioned.
And back-to-back offensive nights for the D-backs. Everybody up and down the lineup contributing, starting to see some power, extra base hits. Guys are feeling pretty good.